videos here, February 12th, 2024. So that's 2/12/24. 2 times 12 is 24. This is a, let's see, a somewhat normal week. Valentine's Day is Wednesday, although I don't really, me and my wife celebrate sort of Valentine's Day on a completely different day. And just, I don't know, never been a huge fan of like being forced to be romantic. We just are romantic when we are. But hey, if you celebrate Valentine's Day, have fun. Super Bowl was yesterday, so I'm sure people were excited about that. Other than that, Dice Tower West is just a few weeks away, so be prepared for Dice Tower West. Come on out and join us in Vegas. 3,000 people, 70 publishers are demoing on, or 60 publishers are demoing 70 different games on our demo tables, hot games room that I personally am involved in setting up. So, and I'll be there, and of course with the whole Dice Tower gang, so we hope to see you, and that will be fun. This week, you'll start seeing Sam Healy stuff on our channel. He's going to be sending some videos in, like our other contributors, so you'll see him doing that. We'll be continuing our role-playing game, The Four Coins, on Thursday. We have we'll play it live later today, and of course, lots of different reviews and other things going up this week, so stick around and enjoy it. Alrighty, so this is a Q&A. If you have questions, I have some answers, so we'll just jump right into that. Ask them in the chat. As always, I don't answer everything. Asking multiple times does not increase your chances of getting things asked for, and some stuff is answered in the Dice Tower FAQ. Alrighty, so let's see here. Will there ever be an average top 100 based on all Dice Tower employee top 100s? I don't think so. I mean, we might do one, that we'll talk about in a stats video at some point, but I don't know. Audio seems low. Well, let me raise this up here. Hopefully that's better. My collar needs fixing. Yeah, this shirt, the collar pops up. It just always happens. Sorry. All right. Why is it called Four Coins? Well, you'd have to watch to find out, actually. One of your top comments on your rulebook was suggesting a Dice Tower award for rulebook so we can celebrate the good rather than just get angry at the bad. What would be your thoughts on that? Possibly. It's something that we've considered before, but I haven't really put a lot of thought into if I want to do that or not yet. Why did Arcadia Quest, I guess Starcadia Quest, drop off my top 100? Is Starcadia Quest in my top 100? I apologize. I don't have my top 100 memorized. Let me see where it is, actually. Top 100. Dooba-dooba-doo. Doo-doo-doo. Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. All right, got the top 100 up. Let's see, where did Starcadia Quest, Arcadia Quest land? Starcadia Quest, Arcadia Quest is 105. So very, very high up there. Remember, this is 105 out of a lot of played games. I don't know how many games I played exactly, but it's around, let me look at my ratings here. It's around 8,500. So it's in the top, 105. Well, let's just do some quick math here. 105 over 8,528. It's in the top 0.0. Oh, top, I'm sorry, it's not 0.0. 1.23%. That's pretty high. So it's not that it's fallen, it's just that other games have risen per se. Alrighty, have I seen the Deadpool 3 trailer? Yes. Thoughts? Nah, I don't know that it showed us anything we didn't already know, so it's okay, I guess. Let's see. This needs to be in the FAQ. Any thoughts on doing a Dice Tower North? We are not going to do any more Dice Tower cons for a long time. We're not adding any for a while, because there's so much work. We're already doing 4 a year. That is a phenomenal amount of work for us to put together. And so just having another one, it doesn't matter where it is, when it is, whatever it is, The only one that I would consider doing would be maybe a second retreat, but even that would be close to home because of the efforts involved. We do Dice Tower Cruise and Dice Tower Retreat and Dice Tower East. Those three are all run out of Florida. There's still a ton of work, but it makes it a lot easier to work with them. Dice Tower West is the hardest one because it's in Vegas. We got other people helping us. Tim and Dave do a great job running that, but I would not want to do that too many more times. All right. Which members of the Dice Tower are going to Essen? We'll let you know that as time goes by. I haven't figured that out quite yet. Favorite Fruit Loops color? You mean as to look at? Because I don't really like Fruit Loops. Will any of the Dice Tower be going to UK Games Expo this year? Not at the moment, no. What does Catch-a-Palooza mean? Does it mean catch-up loser? No, just Catch-a-Palooza. You never heard of a palooza before? It just Catch-a-Palooza is games that someone here hasn't played. That's all. What would be one of your favorite games from before you were born? I like that question. Let's look it up. It's been a while since I've done, so we'll just say from 1800 to 1975. I was born in 76. So let's take a look at the games here and my ratings. So we'll sort them by the board game rank. Let's look here. So some contenders would be Crokinole, 1876, Acquire, 1963, Sleuth, 1971, Hare and Tortoise, 1973, What's My Word, 1972. I'm doing anything that's a 7.5 and over. I'm not, oh wait, there's the, oh wow, Battling Tops from 1968. Beat the 8 Ball from 1975. Triple Yahtzee from, well, that's a 7, so never mind, 1972, but okay, I think Carla Cat from 1955. And yeah, that's about it. Okay, so yeah, as you can see, not a lot of great games came back then. There's a lot of games that, when they built the bones of games today. So I'm going to say, oh, Bluff. Sorry, I missed Bluff. Also, Liar's Dice, Perudo, 1800. I'm going to say of those, probably, I don't know, it's probably Crokinole. I mean, I really like Sleuth as a deduction game, but it's probably Crokinole. So there you go. Let's see here. Catching up to questions, sorry, blah, 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 we're there. Your playthrough of the Game of Thrones Tactics game with Roy seemed like a hoot. You enjoyed it? I did enjoy it. The Star Wars Unlimited pre-release is in 2.5 weeks. Really? Oh, I didn't know it was that soon. Did your initial thoughts change? But my initial thoughts are basically a big yawn. But to be fair, I also have put no effort into looking at the game or anything. So maybe I'll love it. I don't know. It's a CCG. I'm less excited about that sort of thing. Maybe they'll send us some review copies. I don't know. But yeah, I haven't even looked at the mechanisms or anything. So don't take my opinion as anything other than just a personal level of like, eh. Top 3 Studio Ghibli movies. Oh, well, that's really easy. But I mean, my number 1 is Spirited Away, then Princess Mononoke, and then My Neighbor Totoro. Sorry, I'm generic in that regard, but I just really like them. Have you ever noticed that the outro music for the top 100 sounds a lot like Star Wars? A little bit. Ever wonder about getting copyright strike? No, I don't worry about that because they're different enough. It's falls under sort of parody or homage. It's not close enough to be copyright strike. Also, Star Wars isn't coming after Dice Tower. But even if they were, the music is different enough. As I know, you are a fan of Velcro closure shoes. What do you say when they are untied or need tying? We would say your Velcro shoes are open. That's what I think. Or your Velcro's undone. That's what we would say. I don't wear them anymore, and I'm not going to ever be ashamed for wearing them. People are always like, you wear Velcro shoes. I'm like, you're wearing Crocs. You have no moral high ground. Nowadays, I just wear shoes that just fitted shoes. I find it unfathomable that people wear shoes with laces, with the exception of runners, because you want, or any kind of sport or whatever you're doing, you want to lace those shoes so they're tight on your feet. But otherwise, why would you wear shoes with laces? But yeah, people do. Would it be possible for somebody from Dice Tower notifying Discord or Facebook when there are changes or problems YouTube streaming? Possibly. I mean, like, if you mean like Friday where we had to change your live stream at the last minute, yeah, we probably should have put a note on Facebook on that one. Have I listened to the new Magnus Protocol episodes? Well, actually, I ran across those last week. I listened to the first one in its entirety, and I listened to most of the second one. I'm sure I'll get into them as time goes by. Last time, so the Magnus Institute is a horror podcast, and I'll tell you what, the very first one hooked me. It was so like, ooh, what is this? It was a scary story. And then as time went by, like around episode 11 or 12, I'm like, wait a minute, these are starting to crisscross, and it got more and more interesting as time went by. This one, the first episode, I was thoroughly confused. There's so many characters and so many different voices and names, and I was just kind of lost. The second one, it gets a little better. Maybe I finished the second one. I might have. But I'm still kind of, they said before the first one, you don't need to have listened to the Magnus Institute to understand the Magnus Protocol. And so I'm trying to figure out, are they attached? I don't know. Is it a different timeline? It's not clear. And maybe things will get better as time goes by. But I don't dislike it so far, but I'm kind of ambivalent on it. I want to see more. My least favorite color to get in a game? I don't think I have one. In John Williams' soundtrack, where does The Witches of Eastwick rate for you? I don't know if I've heard that one in its entirety. So, my favorite thing that he's done, and I just pulled up the Wikipedia entry of his tons of music, is going to be Star Wars. Specifically, I would put The Empire Strikes Back as his best work. Although, like I've said, I think the Duel of Fates was pretty impressive. Other ones that I'm going to go through these and just shout out ones that come to mind that I really, really like. So, The Adventures of Tintin, I enjoyed that one. Indiana Jones, obviously. Harry Potter is pretty strong. I like Catch Me If You Can. AI is pretty good. And The Patriot, I really like The Patriot. Let's see. There's so many good ones. Jurassic Park, obviously. Schindler's List, that's a phenomenal one. Home Alone is pretty strong. Hook is great. Superman, of course, classic. E.T. Jaws, Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Tower Inferno, I like that one too. That's one of his older works. I'm going to have to go and just listen to some of these old ones and catch up on that. I'm thinking about doing my top 100 soundtracks, but I want to go listen to a bunch of them first to see which ones I like the best. So that'll take some research and things like that. A buffet or a table serve restaurant? Probably I don't know. I like them both. I like buffets. A cheap buffet is not great, but so is a cheap table serve restaurant. I was talking to my kids yesterday, so we took every week we take one of our kids out to eat, just them. So it's just us and them because when you're a big family, you don't always get that alone time. So we do that once a week. And yesterday we took my daughter out to eat at a diner, a new diner that opened up in town. And it's been a while since we had a diner. We were like, oh, it was an old IHOP, and it was very like IHOP rethemed type thing. And me and my wife were telling my daughter that when we were kids, eating at a diner was highfalutin for us. And the number of times we went to a sit down restaurant, we couldn't even remember that. When I was a kid, um, we got pizza delivered, we got Chinese food delivered, and we would occasionally go out to eat at a fast food restaurant, which was a big deal. In our town, we had the 39-cent hamburger stand. I remember that very specifically. And I remember when tacos were 49 cents for a while from Taco Bell. But that was like it. We didn't go out to eat that often. Our big going out to eat was we'd go to Lancaster, Pennsylvania. My dad would go to a buffet. And he would always be like, get your money's worth. But we never went like to a sit down restaurant. I never went to any of these things. And that's fine. And it was good. We were just talking about how our kids, like, our children are being raised very different than we were in food wise. Like, I didn't have sushi till I was an adult. I didn't have, Thai food till I was an adult. I didn't have Indian food till I was an adult. My mom was a great cook and made lots of things. We ate at home most of the time. So it's just interesting how times have changed. Do you ever order components from Etsy to bring out your games? Indeed, I do. I do it a lot. I haven't done it in a while. I will be doing it soon because once I go in there, it's a black hole. So I try to stay away for some times. And nowadays, when I'm in Etsy, then sometimes I'll go on a side road and look for some ornaments for our house. I got a really beautiful Christmas ornament from Etsy. Some nice Christmas decorations I found there too. What would I suggest for a first-time Galaxy player, race or roll? Well, the race gets the better game. Roll's very good, though. Both are fine. With the return of Sam, will we see new episodes of Miami Dice? Likely not. Sam is going to be Sam's going to be a contributor. I was pretty clear on this when I came in. Sam's not showing up here at the studio and stuff. He still lives in Washington. He's going to be doing a couple videos a week and a segment on occasionally on Board Game Smorgasbord. That's what we're bringing him in to do. So there you go. In the recent podcast episode discussing Prospero Hall designers being uncredited, how is this different from working for other industries where you just state your accomplishments in your resume? Well, again, you can do that. I just think, I'm speaking very specifically about our industry, that designers worked so hard to get their names on the box that I thought combining designers under the name Prospero Hall felt like a step back. And I don't know that that's good for designers. It's not good for the public, right? If, let's say, Jason Smith, I'm just making a name up, comes and says, I was a Prospero Hall designer, back my new Kickstarter, the game I designed, and people might back it, but they're not going to be like, oh man, I love your stuff. You have to explain to people who you are first. While Eric Lang and Rainer Knizia and other bigger designers don't have to do that necessarily. Hey Tom, Elder Char is my favorite game of all time. Have you outgrown it? I don't know if I've outgrown it. I just don't have the time to throw for 4 or 5 hour games as much these days. Speaking of CCGs, is anyone in Dice Tower going to do a review of Altered before the Kickstarter ends? Well, we don't do reviews of games that are on Kickstarter. Sometimes there's previews. I don't know that there's one scheduled or not. I don't handle that part of the Dice Tower. Mark and Stella are in charge of that, although I think they would have done it already if they had so. I haven't seen the game at all. I'll wait till it comes out like everybody else. Do you think there will be a dark ages or decline for board gaming? Or do you think that tabletop games have finally broken in mainstream? Well, I don't know if they're in mainstream. I don't know what being in mainstream means. They're pretty mainstream comparatively. Will there be a dark ages or decline? Probably. Will it be soon? I don't know. It could be 100 years from now. 300 years from now. I don't know. When is the Cyclades Legendary Edition late pledge coming? I don't want to miss out. Well, that would be a question for the company making that, not us. The Magnus Archive. You're right. The Magnus Archive. I'm calling it Magnus Institute. Sorry. The Magnus Archive was the original one. The new one is called the Magnus. Well, someone just asked me now, and I forgot the name of it. The Magnus something. The new one is. I'm running back here because I don't want to mess it up. Magnus Protocol. Wow, that's a low airplane. We have a very tiny airport near us here, but it's very rarely used, honestly. Okay, let's see where we are. Please make a Spotify channel with the Dice Tower music. Well, we don't have Dice Tower music on Spotify, so I don't know that we can do that. Is my whole family really involved in your local church? Yes. My daughter's favorite anime. Well, I'd have to sit down and talk to him because I don't know what it is at any given time. Claire's favorite anime is One Piece. I don't know that Jimmy watches anime. He watches other stuff that's not anime. And the other two girls, it changes, so I'm not sure. Jason says, I enjoy a good Adventures of Tintin board game. I agree. That would be fantastic. So as to not to annoy you, how does someone who's asked a question know that you've chosen to skip over the question and not just accidentally missed it? Yeah, I don't know. I usually have skipped over questions, but I don't know. You could ask it. I suppose you could ask again later on if I missed it in spots. But I'm talking about people who ask and ask and ask and ask and ask. Let's see. When rating games or making top tens, does or should set up unpack time count? I don't think it normally counts. This is the same way I feel about price. Price doesn't normally count, but sometimes it's such a big deal. Like a price is so expensive or so cheap that you're like, oh my word, it's like such a big deal. And I think setup and teardown's the same way. Like setup, you're like, wow, it was so quick, it was easy, or wow, it's so much setup that it might affect it. But it would have to be pretty big to have that big of a deal. Shady Maple Smorgasbord is my favorite smorgasbord in the world. When I was a kid, though, we didn't go there. We didn't know it existed for a while. We did, as I was a teenager, we started going to Shady Maple. But Family Time was the place we went to a while, and there was another one called something or other. I don't remember the other name of the other one. We'd go there. It was like a big deal. We'd drive to Lancaster. We'd go there. We'd look around. We occasionally would do stuff down there, but my dad didn't have a ton of money, so we didn't do. We went to Dutch Wonderland and the Strasburg Railroad and the Choo Choo Barn and sometimes the Gettysburg or sometimes the Harrisburg, things like that. Could new Wingspan expansions add mechanisms from Wormspan? But I don't know. It'd be interesting if they do or not. As a fan of Indiana Jones, have you ever played Fortune and Glory from Flying Frog? No. I was always put off by the real life pictures they used in it, and I heard that the game was very, very, very long. And now it's so old, I don't know that I've heard enough middling reviews on it. Can you do a video that shows your best favorite upgraded component games? Well, I used to do that, but I'm not doing it right now. Maybe someday. You just said you don't often have time for a 3 to 5 hour game. However, if you do, which one will you pull out? I don't know. I mean, it all depends what game I'm in the mood to play. I played a pretty lengthy game last week, which we'll be reviewing soon, and I have a couple other big ones, but they're usually dungeon crawls. I was waiting for your feed to suddenly cut out right after you said that's a low-flying airplane. Well, that's dark. Who, not including yourself, is the most least into board games? Least into board games? I've met some people on the street, I think, who are probably not into board games at all, but I wouldn't know the person in the world who's least in the board games. And the person most in the board games in the world, I don't know. I meet them at conventions sometimes where they're playing nonstop, but I wouldn't know who is the most in the board games? Oh, never mind. From your family, says the next line. Least in the board games is my daughter. I don't know, actually. I would have said, oh, Amy. Yeah, Amy for sure. Um, and most in the board games, I don't know, maybe Melody. If you were to commission a board game artist to make you a family portrait, who would you ask? Haha, that would be telling. Tom, what'd you do with the Tom Bear from your unboxing a couple weeks ago? He's sitting by the front door of the studio for now. Have you had a chance to check out Galaxy Cruise yet? I don't know what that means. Galaxy Cruise. Is this a board game? Is it a... I see Galactic Cruise. Is that what you're talking about? It's not out yet. I don't play games that are not out. That's a general policy I have. So, and I keep like really loudly saying that policy, and yet people still ask me all the time if I play prototypes. I just don't. The only time I play prototypes is if we're considering it for Dice Tower Essentials. Other than that, I don't. Has the Chief ever been on a DT cruise? He has not been on a Dice Tower cruise. We have not needed him. He has rescuing cruise ships has been a thing that the Chief did for a while. It was actually one of the things that we did when we were first getting into the agency, because you would be surprised the number of cruise ships that go through alternate dimensions or end up being attacked by a monster, or the dreaded cats of Zappa's Empire is trying to take out another cruise ship. I don't know, but it's such a pain in the neck. So he doesn't really have any interest going back to something after all that, not like traumatic necessarily, just like he was tired of it. Like, oh, yet another cruise ship to rescue, another cruise ship, float it through one dimension to the next. Got to bring it back. Got to make sure as few people notice as possible. As few casualties, things like that. Which beige Euro do you wish they never update the old art? I do not think that about any game. Did you watch the Super Bowl? I did watch it out of the corner of my eye. We had an event at our church where I ran a Super Bowl. I did a game show during halftime, and we ate food, and I watched some of the commercials. So what was my favorite commercial? My favorite commercial so far that I've seen from the Super Bowl is the Christopher Walken commercial. Did your family play a lot of games growing up? They did indeed. Are you aware of any board games with the Rubik's Cube theme? Yes, there is several. Just search for Rubik on Board Game Geek. I know you have cooled on Kemet, Blood, and Sand. Well, I'm looking here at my top 100 of all time, and it's 23. I guess last year it was 16, so you could say I've cooled on it by 7 spots. But again, that is 23 out of a 8,500. Oh, we'll do the math on that now. So it is in my top 0.26% of games. So I would argue very strongly that I have not cooled on it. Anyway, what was your actual real question? Let me look. Is there a new area control game you prefer? Oh, no. Again, it's Kemet, man. Kemet's great. I love Kemet. Where did I say I cooled on it? I don't like the new board, but I love Kemet. As a native Pennsylvanian, I'm ashamed to admit I've never been. Oh, you got to go to Gettysburg. It's fantastic. Gettysburg is such an interesting place. You go there and you imagine the battle fought there. There's so much stuff there. I love Gettysburg. What annoys me the most about board game conventions? Annoyances? I really like board game conventions. I don't know. When they don't do things the way I'd want to? I don't know. I like board game conventions. So regarding Kickstarter reviews, Mike just reviewed Tokyo Highway Rainbow City while that Kickstarter is running, and he reviewed Unreliable Wizard during its Kickstarter. Now so yes, that happened and everything, and that might conceivably happen again. We don't always know that things at Kickstarters are running when we do these, but we attempt to not do that if we can help it. Movies have conditioned me to assume the worst with airplanes. Yes, for sure. Thank you for the super chat, Monica. Thank you, and the entire Dice Tower crew for everything you do. Endlessly appreciated by gamers around the globe. Well, thank you. That's very nice. Do you think any movies use too much CGI? Maybe. CGI does not bother me like it bothers other people. They're like, movies were so much better when they use models. I'm like, oh, okay, really? I mean, don't get me wrong. When you go back in time and you see bad CGI movies, you're like, oh, that's obviously CGI or whatever. But I've also seen movies where you can see the strings on people. I never understood this anti-CGI. I find it okay. It doesn't bother me. As video games move towards a digital-only distribution model, do you think we'll see an increase in board game interest? I don't know that was correlated at all, actually. Yeah, I know Galactic Cruise was being demoed on the Dice Tower Cruise and shown off there, but that doesn't change my personal. Again, there's gonna be a lot of games demoed at Dice Tower West for the first time. I just don't do it because we have so many thousands of games to review, and I need to spend my time doing that. Why was Master Universe not anyone's top 10 from 2023 lists? Well, I mean, I liked it a lot. I just didn't make my top 10 list. There's a lot of great games that come out over the year. I thought it was on Z's top 10 list, so. Do you plan to try out the new Iceman expansion Marvel Champions? Maybe, maybe not. Whatever happened to your love of Core Worlds? I watched on your old top 10s, and you had such a love for it, but I haven't heard you talk about it in years. Well, I mean, there's thousands of games that come out. I like Core Worlds. The biggest problem with Core Worlds is, well, it takes too long. Now, the expansion helped a lot, but it's hard to, nowadays, with a deck building game, I want maybe a necessarily snappy one. I know they're remaking Core Worlds, and I love to see a somewhat speedier, snappier game. I like it, but I think it's starting to creak a little bit with old age. Did I ever try Keyforge Adventure? I did not. Favorite DreamWorks flick? Well, I'll have to go to a list of all DreamWorks movies. I'm assuming you mean animation. So we'll look at the list of animation. Ants, no. Prince of Egypt, good. Road to El Dorado, love it. So far, it's Road to El Dorado. Let's see if anything else can beat that. Kung Fu Panda is good, but I like Road to El Dorado better. I like Megamind. Still Road to El Dorado. Ooh, the Croods. I really like the Croods, but still Road to El Dorado. Road to El Dorado is still winning. More Croods. All right, so I would say my top three are Road to El Dorado, then the Croods. I really like the second Croods, actually. Then maybe Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, which I might like better than even the Shrek movies, although Shrek is pretty good. Yeah, those would be... Man, I like DreamWorks stuff. All right. Moving on. Any future plans for nothing personal or other designs of your own? I don't have any plans. Every once in a while in my head, I'll be like, I got an interesting idea. Maybe I'll do something here. But I never really go farther than that. Designing a game is hard work. Anyone who designs games puts work into it. And I just don't put that work into it. I put work in other things. And so I just haven't sat down and really put the effort into it. I'm not saying it will never happen, but as of right now, in the last year, for example, I put 0% effort into it. I might have thought about some stuff in my head. I might have thought, but nothing else beyond that. I'm not secretly designing a game. Now, if I ever do design a game, I'll definitely do it secretly. And I definitely wouldn't tell people. But I also wouldn't lie to you about it. And I'm saying right now, I'm not designing a game. But if I did design one, I'd keep it under wraps for as long as I could, because I don't know, a reviewer designing a game is a risky prospect. The other reviewers that I got there sharpening their knives, like, we're waiting. The Amish buffet in Lancaster is amazing. Well, there's a lot of Amish buffets there, so I'm not sure which one you are mentioning. Any plans on doing a top 10 publishers? We'll do that at some point for sure. For a while you were doing Q&As every 2 weeks and having other people and staff do them in the week in between. Any plans to go back to that model? We're going to have other people doing Q&As for sure. In fact, we got one going up this Friday of this week. So, yeah, we'll get back to doing more of those. Greeting, Tom. Looking forward to games on the 25th. That's true. The 24th and 25th, the big game bash over at Joey's area. We'll be playing there. Kind of a mini games weekend, very small. I mean, I'll be gaming there for, a little over, 15 hours or so. But I'll get some games played. That'll be fun. Do you still play Dice Masters? Not much these days, that's for sure. What are your top 5 Batmans? I don't know if I can make that list. I love Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. I'm surprised How to Train Your Dragon that wasn't on your list. They're fine. I like them, but it just didn't make my top list. That's all. Are you interested in the Last Airbender Netflix adaptation? Actually, I've been talking about how me and the kids need to watch The Last Airbender together, because me and Jimmy have never seen it. And Ruby says she doesn't remember it. So I guess we'll have to watch it. Do you have any recommendations for good poker chips to replace currency in board games, if you would do that? I've heard of Iron Clays, but they're out of stock. Well, we reviewed some metal poker chips just 2 board game smorgasbords ago, so those would be worth checking out. Other than that, Iron Clays would be what I would recommend, but if they're not available, I look for poker chips, but I try to look for ones that don't have currency on them. You can find them, but that's what I would look for. Would you ever consider doing looking back at the games that specifically fallen out of your top 100? Yeah, well, it's kind of interesting, because if you go, when I do my top 100, I list them, and then I list them, and I kind of sort them out. So let's do something fun here. Well, it's fun for me anyway. Let me see here. I need to sort. There we go. So we'll sort. Yeah. So we're going to sort all my stuff by that year, and then the next year, and then the next year. We'll go back several years. So whatever year I stop at here will be the last year. And we'll look at the highest game that's fallen out from that year. But again, that doesn't mean anything. There's very few games that have fallen out of my top 100 that I dislike now. Again, I played fewer games back then. We're going to go back to 2010, I think. That is... So that's the farthest I'm going to go back. 2010. Here we go. Boom. So scrolling down. It's in O. There we go. 2010. And there was a game called Conquest of the Empire. Well, that's not actually fair. Conquest of the Empire. So, well, actually, no, it is fine. I'm mixing them up. Conquest of the Empire was a re-implementation of Struggle of Empires from Martin Wallace that Glenn Drover did that I liked a lot. And it debuted on my list at 66. It didn't debut. It actually debuted on my list at 28, but in that year it was 66, and then it fell off. So then the highest game to fall off my list, well, the next 2 years, 2009 and hang on, I'm going to go. I'm going to hang on 1 second. I need to lock this thread. Anyway, so the next from 2009 and 2008, it was the same game, and that's Duel of Ages. But that's because Duel of Ages 2 came out. And then 2007, the highest rated game that got knocked off was Twilight Imperium. Same thing. Well, it didn't get knocked off right then. It was 26, 42, 56, and that's Twilight Imperium 3. And then in this year, the highest game that fell off was Arcadia Quest, but that's because Starcadia Quest came out. So that was 3 years. And then 3 years ago, 2021, the highest game to fall off the list would be Clank Legacy, but that's because I decided to stop putting legacy games in my list. And then 2022, the highest game to fall off is probably, it's going to be Vagrant Song, but that's because Vagrant Song is 101 now. So that's the only difference there. And then there you go. So that's, sorry, I know that's not particularly interesting what I just said, but that is how that works. All right. Maybe Tom secretly designed Last Light, then asked Roy to publish it instead. No, definitely that was all Roy. I want to make sure that there was, I want to be really clear, and I'm saying this in as positive way as I can. I had no input into that game. Roy did everything with that game. It is all Roy. So he gets all the credit. I saw it when it was almost published for the first time. All right. Yes. Mike Heller says Big Game Bash, biggamebashlive.com. Go check it out. If you're anywhere in Florida, come join us. It's going to be fun. Are there any plans to review Cyberpunk from Simon? Probably. It's in our list. Shady Maple Smorgasbord is the largest Amish buffet in Pennsylvania. Actually, Shady Maple Smorgasbord is one of the largest buffets in the world. What Marvel superhero is overrated? Snicked. Well, obviously, funnily enough, it's the two that are coming out in a new movie. It's Deadpool and Wolverine. It's like a tie between the two of them, by far. Am I going to watch the eclipse? Oh, you know what? That's useful information. Eclipse. I don't know when it's coming. April 8th. The total eclipse. So it's not going to be total eclipse here. It's not crossing that. It'll be a little bit of it. We might. What time will it be? Oh, it's during the day? Well, obviously it wouldn't be an eclipse otherwise. I'll have to look and see how well we can see it from where we're at, blah, blah, blah. Maybe. I think that stuff's interesting. What mechanisms or characteristics is Emerson Matsuuchi known for? How would you guess he was the designer if you didn't know before playing one of his games? He's really good at streamlining a game. He gets a game down to just a few basic mechanisms. That's how I would guess. With you doing more short reviews like Rapid Fire Roundup, are these going to be included in Look Back? They will occasionally be included in Look Back. It's all going to depend on if I think that it's worth talking about them. I've already thought about that because it's going to start happening soon. Tom, any thoughts on Aqua by USAopoly? Conveniently, we're reviewing that this week. I see some board gamers using video gaming chairs. You guys use those? We actually got them in here in the studio, and I got to be honest, I hate video gaming chairs. I don't get it. I mean, I know why board gamers use them because these companies all offer them for free. I could get like 6 right now if I wanted to. There's the competition's fierce. I don't get them. I prefer big office chairs. They're way more comfortable for sitting and doing things. Gaming chairs might be great for gaming, maybe. I wouldn't know. I lay on the couch or sprawl on the floor or sit in a chair or stand up. I don't know. That's where I'm at. I got to the final boss in Elden Ring, but I didn't beat him. I didn't go even fight him because I'm like, when's the new content going to come out? Also, I still haven't beat all the little minor bosses. Still can't beat Millennia. I cannot get past her second phase. As soon as her second phase comes, she explodes and I die instantly every time. It's so annoying. Tom, how do we get invited to the Dice Tower retreat? You don't get invited. You can email me to get on the waiting list, but I'll tell you the waiting list is long, and just assume you won't get in right now. I mean, you could say on a waiting list. I recommend specifically trying to get Dice Tower East or Dice Tower West if you could, or Dice Tower Cruise. You'll still run into us. You're still going to have interaction with us there and play lots of great games. Oh, I'm not judging Avatar by that episode. I do that kind of as a silliness, and it really irritates my children who've seen that one. I just haven't got around to it. You know, it's some effort to go sit and watch a series with other people. I just finally watched the second season of Invincible. Whew. What are 5 games you hope you are playing in 10 years? That's not really a question I could answer. I don't even know it's a question I should answer, right? What does that even mean? Top 5 games I hope I'm still playing in 10 years? I hope I'm playing 5 fun games. I don't care what they are. If games are fun, I hope to still be playing them. I mean, I hope every game I play is still fun. If I like this game is amazing, I hope that it's still amazing in 10 years. I drew a caricature of you that lives at our kiosk at Kalahari Water Park in Sandusky, Ohio. Well, I guess if I ever go there, I'll see it. Send me a picture. I've not played any of the Everdell expansions. Are you going to do a top 10 dungeon crawler update? Interesting question. Do you enjoy playing Commander Magic the Gathering? I really like it, but I only like playing it 1v1, which is not most people's preferred method of playing it, I suppose. Let's see here. Have I watched Galaxy Quest? Galaxy Quest is in my top 10 favorite movies, probably. Brad, I'm not going to go through my advice on parents here, but congrats on having a kid. Advice on parenting could be a long time, and also, I've been told in the past, quite unwelcome on this. Let's see here. Is anyone in the office allergic to any cookie toppings? Oh, I don't know. I don't think so, but I don't know. I would save them by eating it. Cookie toppings are interesting, right? Like cookies are great, and I really love cookies. The best cookie topping by far is icing, or a Hershey's Kiss or sprinkles. Other than that, coconut's okay. I don't hate coconut, but coconut's fine. A lot of cookies would do better without coconut. Cherries are good cookie topping. There's not really a lot of cookie toppings anyway, is there? There's cookies insets, things inside cookies. Man, speaking of that, my wife and I went to Key West a couple weeks ago, and on the way down, we stopped at a place, and I forget the name of it, but they had the best muffins I've ever had in my life. Let me see if I can find this place because I want to give them a shout out. Harriet's Restaurant. Harriet's Restaurant in Key Largo. We stopped there for breakfast. I had a crab omelet, which was phenomenal. And then I got a chocolate key lime muffin, which I thought was amazing. And so we bought a dozen of them, took them home, and then I had a mango one, which was good, not as good as the chocolate key lime, but then I had a white chocolate raspberry one, which was the best one yet. Then when we went to Key West, I'm gonna give a shout out to the restaurants we went to. For lunch, we ate at this little place. I forget the name of it, but it was a little place that had a pretty high rating. Let me see if I can find it here. Nope, 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 nope. I'll remember it when I see it. Nope, nope. There's so many restaurants in Key West, I'm pretty sure we could have gone anywhere and had a great time. Nope, 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 nope. Well, what am I forgetting here? Is it not on this list? Well, whatever. I went to a good place in Key West, but I don't remember what it was called. And now people are going to be like, was it this place? Probably not. Uh, but it was this little place we went to, and I had some conch tacos, and those conch tacos were absolutely incredible. I had a great time. Then on the way back, we stopped at the Conch House in Key Largo. It was a great day. 3 meals in the Keys. You can't beat that. I love seafood. I love seafood so much, and the Keys are a great place. I don't know how often we'll drive down the Key West like that, but it was really, really fun. And no one even asked me that. So let's get back to where we are here. We're talking about cookie toppings. Anyway, favorite books about board games? I don't know. I have several. I'd have to take some time to figure out the best ones. What are some of your tricks for de-stressing with moves? With the conventions, you all do move operations a lot. For me, just collapsing afterwards, doing something that has nothing to do with games. Like when we're done moving, I'll go home and play video games for a while or something like that. What about the dice tower makes you the most happy? I think there's 2 things that make me the most happy about Dice Tower. One is that it's just meeting people who like the Dice Tower by far. I love that so much. I love going to conventions and stuff and talking to people who enjoy the Dice Tower. I really do enjoy that. And then the second thing that makes me most happy is that I'm able to make a living from it, but more importantly, I'm able to let other people make a living from it, and I really like that. I think that makes me the most happy. And also that a lot of people are in gaming and in gaming media and stuff that are inspired by Dice Tower, and I appreciate that. Some may be better than the Dice Tower. Will Dice Tower review Waterfall Park anytime soon? I thought for sure I did review Waterfall Park. Waterfall Park Dice Tower. I thought for sure I did it. Huh. Wait, there it is. Nope. Nope. Huh. I thought I did it in one of my speed reviews. Maybe I did not. Well, I'll have to get around to that. Alrighty, let's see here. Gideon cookies at Disney Springs, overrated or the best? I think they're overrated. I really do. I do not think they're worth standing in line an hour for. I never have, so I wouldn't know. But I was given a cookie, and I know that some people are going to say it's anathema. I was a chocolate chip cookie from there, and I thought there was too many chocolate chips. I know, that sounds crazy, but I thought it was way, 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 way overrated. There are so many amazing cookie places out there that I do not have to wait in line hours for. So, I don't know. I just, again, whatever. But a lot of people really love Gideon's, so go for it. Have I dabbled in tabletop role-playing games, says Bernard. Bernard, come join us this Thursday for our RPG that we play, The 4 Coins. We're in episode 6, I think. And see what happens. What's the most complex board game I've ever played? A game called 7 Ages. Have I ever been stuck in a theme park ride? Briefly, we were stuck. Me and my daughter were in the Haunted Mansion at Disney. The only time we went to Disney, actually. I've only been there one time. I live in Florida this long. And we were stuck in the bottom where they were singing around. It was air conditioned, so I didn't really care. It was only like 10, 15 minutes or whatever. Days of Wonder has hinted Map Collection 8 for Ticket to Ride recently on their Facebook page. No details yet. Are there any country places that you would like to see in that map collection? Do not care. I know it sounds, I just don't care. I care about the mechanisms. Whatever country place they pick, I'll be like, cool. I'll be happy with it. I'm more interested in what does it do differently. What's my favorite Catan version? Whew. Whew. I don't know. I probably know. Fisherman of Catan. What can we expect from the big game bash? You're just showing up and gaming with people. Think of a game night at your local game store just with 150 people there. That's what it's like. I'm going to bring bags of games, mostly new stuff that I'm going to try out. I'll bring some hot games maybe with me too, a few of them. But yeah, everyone, last time I went, lots of people brought games. There was just games everywhere. Kingdom Death is my favorite game after Gambler's Chest released. I can't help but feel like your playthrough didn't get to a quarter of the systems even in the base game. Well, I mean, I understand the game is basically that monster fight, and then there's that whole village build-up. And I really, really like the village build-up. Remember, you saw a condensed version. I went back and messed with that some more. I think it's interesting. Would I play it again? No. There's just too many other games out there, and I really, 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 really dislike the Kingdom Death theme. So I'd have to keep looking in that rule book, and that rule book is gross. And if a couple of you are playing a game to review and you run into each other in the hallway later, is it frowned upon asking each other how was the game, or is that annoying? It just we're like, so what'd you think? I mean, sometimes it's so obvious someone loves a game or hates a game. You just can't hide that stuff. And sometimes we talk about it. It is what it is. We try not to go into too much detail because we save that for the review. Does your Worm Span review rank among the highest viewed of 2024? I guess so. Probably. I mean, it is February. Last time I learned way too late that you were coming to Brazil and sadly could not meet you. Any plans on returning? I'd love to come back to Brazil, but I don't have any plans at this point in time to go. Oh, can you tell us anything about The Hobby, the movie you're in? Are you the Roger Ebert of board gaming mentioned in the plot synopsis? Oh, I don't know what the plot synopsis says. I'm going to go look it up now. Where is the... Oh, I found it. Okay, The Hobby. From the World Series of Board Gaming on the Vegas Strip and dating back to ancient Mesopotamia, The Hobby is an affectionate, character-driven portrait of the massive and diverse subcultures of board games, with a fascinating cast of charming subjects, including the Roger Ebert of board games, a rock-climbing game philosopher, that's not me, and a bird watcher created an unlikely smash hit, that's Elizabeth Hargrave. Players share personal stories of competition, compulsion, creativity, and connection. Oh, well... Well, all right. Well, maybe that is me. I don't know. I will say this. I never get, overly excited about these documentaries and things because they take a lot of footage, and then you're like, well, maybe I'll be in the movie for a minute. But I'll tell you what, they took so much footage of us. I mean, tons of footage of the Dice Tower. They came down to the Dice Tower and took footage, and they followed me around and took footage and did this and took footage. They followed me at Gen Con and took footage, and there's a lot of footage. Now, I doubt they'll use all that. Maybe I'm in a movie for 30 seconds, but either way, I'm happy as long as it makes us look somewhat good, But that's exciting. So I hope that it does well. I just heard from them and they talked to me about it. So I'm looking forward to that. All right. Well, anywho, and it's very possible he told me that's what the tagline for me was going to be. Maybe. I don't know. But I don't know that I would. Whatever. I'm very much looking forward to seeing the movie. I've seen nothing about it. I would love to see it. I'm not going to South by Southwest, but I'm very interested in seeing the finished product. I know he's done so much work on this, and so looking forward to seeing the final part of this movie. So, all right. And that, folks, is the end of a Q&A because I have to get well. All right, I have to get going. I got to get reviews done. We'll be back in 3 hours. We'll play it live, where we just play random games randomish, from games from the Dice Tower library, learn them on the spot, and see how they play. Last time we did it, we picked Wormspan. People were like, whoa! This time will not be as quite of a big surprise. Okay, I'll see you guys next time. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate it. Trying to think what else to say. Dice Tower West coming soon. Check it out. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel. Bye, guys.